Welcome back to Perspective, and we are now at the second phase of today's show. So this is the actual debating phase, where both teams will lock horns and go head to head and try and out-debate each other. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask one of the teams to start off with an opening argument, an opening statement. Then we're going to have the opposition team respond to that, and then we can have the original team counter respond, and we can go back and forth until I stop it, and then I ask the next team to come with their opening argument. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask the team Nexus, who are against animal testing, to start off with your opening statement / argument. And so can I ask one of you guys just to take the mic and give us your opening argument, please?
So you guys stated that humans are more important than animals. However, it has been scientifically proven that animals have the brain to have feelings and emotions, and they actually do morally stand on our scale. So we aren't actually more important than animals. They do have a moral issue surrounding animal testing. So how would you argue against that?
Okay, so there isn't, as they're saying, there isn't really, as you guys said before, that much of a gulf between animals and humans. They do have feelings about what's happening to them. How would you respond to that?
Well, the research of animals has played a vital part in nearly every medical breakthrough over the last decade. Also, Joan Ryan, former UK Home Minister, has quoted, "Animal research and testing has played a part in almost every medical breakthrough over the last century. It has saved millions of lives worldwide. So without animal testing, millions of lives worldwide would have been in danger."
Okay, so she sort of brings the argument back. You guys say humans and animals are the same, but in order to give animals the rights that you guys are talking about, are you willing to sacrifice millions of lives in order to achieve that?
We understand that animal testings have saved loads of lives in the past, but now we live in 2017 where there's more advanced technology and there's replaceable methods. And in the British Medical Journal, 5 authors asked, where's the evidence that animal research benefits humans? The answer they received was that there was no such evidence because our DNA and their DNA, they don't match as much.
Yeah. Okay, so do you guys have a response to that?
Many basic cell processes are the same in all animals, and the bodies of animals are like humans in the way they perform many vital functions such as breathing, digestion, movement, sight, hearing and reproduction. To treat diseases, doctors and scientists must understand how the healthy body works. This in turn leads to an understanding of what happens to the body when we fall ill and how this can be put right.
So animals do share quite a few similarities with humans. Would you have a response to that?
Well, the thing is, we will never get full, precise results if it's from animal testing. That will be beneficial for us humans. For example, the case I talked about in my speech about how they tested the tobacco and cancer connection on animals, and the outcome was that there wasn't no connection, but yet for humans there still was, and then this had a massive negative impact on society. Also, they've already found a cure for cancer for mice, but not humans. So this shows how it's not helping society.
Okay, thank you very much. So I'm going to call an end to that string of debate there. So we had Team Nexus give their opening argument. So now I'm going to come to the question marks, and I'm going to ask you guys to do the same. Just give us one of your opening statements / arguments, and then we'll see how Team Nexus can respond.
Animal research is responsible for the development of inhalers. 5.4 million people suffer from asthma in the UK, and 3 people a day die as a result of it. Without their inhalers, they would face incredible difficulty.
So animal research is in a position now where it is supporting many people, and many people rely on the fruits of such animal research. So what would you say to that?
See, what you've come up with is just one specific case, but the fact is that using animals to test safety is only 43% accurate. One case that we do know is that Again, animal testing is mostly ineffective. For example, there was an arthritis drug that was developed. It was tested on 6 different animals, and it was labelled as safe, but then it caused 140,000 deaths in humans, so it wasn't effective.
Okay, so animal testing is a bit hit and miss, and as she said, it's only really 43% effective. Would you guys have a response to that, Ibrahim, maybe?
As I said before, the drug DEG was a poisonous drug and killed hundreds of people, so animal testing can save lives.
Okay, so as we can see from that string of debate, we're sort of coming out with a few cases supporting animal testing and a few cases where it didn't really work. So I think I'm going to call an end to that string of debate there. So I'm going to come back to Team Nexus again, and I'm going to ask you guys to give yet another opening statement.
Okay, so firstly, animal testing is not reliable, and it's not reliable, and it's inefficient, and also it's a waste of money. It's also outdated as well.
Okay, so animal testing is not reliable, and as a result, it does waste a lot of money. Would you guys have a response for that?
Animals get benefits themselves from testing as well. Animals are very similar to us as they suffer from diseases like cancer, asthma and flu. So if they were not tested on before coming in use with us, they would have died. Anyway.
Okay, so as you said, animal testing is not reliable, but that is in terms of what it comes out with for humans. In many cases, it could in fact find a cure for many problems within the animal world. And since you guys are focusing a lot on animal safety, maybe animal testing is good for them as well as humans. Would you have a response to that?
However, while the animals are kept in a lab, their habitat changes and they alter more. So, like the animals' bodies aren't reliable as they're being changed.
Okay, so what she said is, when the animals are tested on, they're tested on in a lab, and that's not their natural habitat. So that could affect the results of any sort of cure that you find for a disease within the animal world. Would you guys have any response to that? Zahid? Nazib?
Through the information that scientists find out, they figure out how to improve their experimental techniques so they can improve their results in the future.
Do you guys have any response to that?
Okay, but most of the tests could actually be misleading because even though they're advancing their scientific practices, they're still very misleading in the animal testing. For example, do you know aspirin is good for us, but then it is bad for animals, and this was produced from animal testing. And it shows how maybe there might be a cure that they've missed out, since there might have been a drug or something that harms animals but could have helped us, like aspirin. So it's never 100% precise on what they get.
Okay, so Zahid comes back to the idea that animals aren't the perfect model to test on in order to find the effects of medicines on humans. So would you guys like to respond to that, or do you want me to?
Animal testing may be misleading, but if you're testing human lives, that could be a lot of consequences, as many lives may have effect on the future.
Okay, so you guys said animal testing may be misleading, but without it, you'd have to go directly to testing on humans, and that could be catastrophic in many cases. So what would you say to that?
So obviously we're in the 21st century. We don't just rely on animal testing. There are loads of stages during clinical trials. You go through computer modelling, testing on cells, animal testing, and then to human trials. We can easily replace animal testing with computer modelling, microdosing, stem cell research. There are loads of techniques to replace it. We can ensure safety for clinical trials, and as you may already know, clinical trials are already dangerous. Even drugs that have been tested on animals, they have gone on to clinical trials to kill humans.
Okay, so there are many processes which scientists can go through before computer modeling, testing on cells in a lab. So you don't have to always go straight to animal testing. So would you guys have any response to that, or should I move on to the next string? Yeah, I think I'll call a close to that one, and I'll move on to the next string of debate. So I'm going to come to the question marks. Could you guys give an opening statement / argument, please?
Some animals, like a salamander or the zeoratis, have stem cells that can regenerate limbs, and scientists are finding a way to regenerate some human bodies using their genes.
Stem cells are also found in humans. There are two types, embryotic and adult. So you can get from the bone marrow of any person. It's easy to get. Also, embryotic stem cells, they're found in the amniotic fluid and in fetuses, so you can easily get them anyways.
Okay, so for stem cell research, in order to obtain the stem cells, you don't always have to go straight to animals.
Embryotic cells are only found in embryos, and there's been a major debate about whether embryos should be able to live or they'll be dead for research.
Okay, so I think we're sort of drifting off into a separate debate there. So I'll call an end to that string of debate. And finally, I'm just going to ask the Nexus just for one last time if you guys could give one more opening argument / statement.
I think animal testing is inefficient, and the money being invested in there could be used for other alternatives and used to advance the other alternatives for such as stem cell research, where we could get even better or as accurate results rather than testing on animals and putting animals through torture.
Okay, so there are alternatives, and coming back to the main idea of money, its inefficiency means that it could be a big waste of money.
Well, the American Psychological Association have a whole committee on animal ethics. This shows that the scientists do care about the animals, and it is not all cruel. In their guidelines for ethical conduct and animal research, they state laboratory animals are to be provided with humane care and health conditions during their stay in any of the facilities of the association.
Okay, so we can see a very big association there. They do have guidelines which make sure that animals are kept safely and not treated cruelly.
So Section 24 in the Animals Act 1986 is a secrecy clause. So experiments are done secretly and they're exempt from the Freedom of Information Act. So this means that the law permits deliberate infliction of suffering in labs, which would usually be illegal. Does this not create the moral question of what is going on in those labs, that they cannot say what is happening by law?
Okay, so as she said, the fact that the law hides what is going on in the labs, doesn't that leave a bit of a question as to what is actually going on in those labs? Do you guys have a response for that? Zahid, Nazib, Ibrahim? Ibrahim?
Sometimes in the lab, it may be beneficial to what we find out. Sometimes cruelty is maybe the answer.
Okay, so I think Masima, do you have a response for that?
Did you know 19% of animal testing are produced as drugs? The rest are used for other stuff and other biological reasons. Now, if you really think cruelty is the answer, they should take that to an extent. So then 100% is put into animal testing to find cures and to help with our survival, but only 90% is used for medicinal purposes.
Okay, thank you very much, Zahid. Now, I think I'm going to call an end to that string of debate, and I'm going to call an end to this phase of the show. So we've seen some very, very heated debating taking place between both Team Nexus and the question marks. So we've seen many good points and statistics and facts used, but that brings an end to this debate phase. And now in the next phase we're going to have the judges' questions, and they're going to be asking questions to all the contestants. But before we go there, we're going to have a very quick break.